He wanted me to set up a fund that would allow him $100 a month until his 401k kicked in. Evidently, he still had some money there. Of course, I told him it was going nuts and that he shouldn't be so dramatic and black and white about these things. But he called me the day after and insisted, very insistent, for, let me see, 2 weeks, until I finally gave in and set it up for him with one of my clients. Yeah, we had some great times, me and Kay. I mean, we came from more or less the same background. You know, I grew up in Hawaii, he grew up in Montana. We came to the big city more or less the same time. I was emptying the trash cans and he was picking up the mail. And we became traders together. We learned all the tricks from the inside, if you know what I mean.
Clips free. Check it out at foxnewstogo.mobi. That's Fox News, the number 2, go.mobi. Fox News everywhere at foxnewstogo.mobi.
Like hope, pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
So after that incident with Mr. K, I wanted to report him for inappropriate conduct. But, you know, LAPD, you don't tell on your buddies. And then again, he was black. A person of color. So he probably could have gotten me for racism. Evidently, he was playing football in college and had his coach do things to him in the locker room. You know how it is. Things are like they are, and there's nothing you can do about it.
We used to have 2 different departments, community development and building inspection. Nobody had to listen or talk to anybody. Now, we're one department. You have to understand that it's not about development. It's about creating a quality of life, and it's not just about accommodating growth, it's about creating a livable neighborhood for the people who live here. Throughout all of our cases, we've had a very high compliance rate. I pride that. And that the inspectors are willing to work with the violators to gain their compliance before we have to take further steps. Prioritizing what we do want to be proactive on. If the inspectors in District 3 are being proactive on something that we really don't want to be proactive on, we may reassign them into maybe a sweep or into one of our focus areas. We have contractor compliance, induced compliance, code hearings, or forced compliance, where we actually go out and remediate the issue.
Well, you see, he lived without much thought for the future. He made do with what he had, and always lived a notch or two this side of too much hope. I would describe him as happy more than not. But because his interests were moderate in a world gone mad with desire, I must say that I and other people that knew him, for the most part, considered him strangely out of step with reality.
Well, we tried to gain his compliance. As we understood it, Mr. K was showing great signs of cooperation, and he did take care of some of the issues, like the retroactive oak tree permit, the geotechnological studies, the title search and report investigation, some of the herbaric studies, the nuisance and herbaric code compliance issues that are hard to satisfy in this kind of zoning. But then again, it led to very little. When his arborist issued what our arborist contestant as an incorrect name of one of the oak tree species on the property, it led to a correspondence between the two conflicting arborists that I came to understand turned out to be very costly for Mr. Kane. So costly that he eventually was unable to fully fall into compliance. since there was a fresh cut on one of the roots of these species. And our code stipulates that any pruning of California scrub oak must be applied for in due time and according to our procedures. We have our rules for a reason, and they need to be complied with, or else there would be no use having such codes, right? So we had no choice but to take firm measures with him.
Therefore, I do not believe that a majority can vote a man's life or property or freedom away from him. That was the original American system.
Certain social welfare legislation. This did not spring full-blown from somebody's head.
It actually sprang up from the same source as the abuses. If by abuses you mean the legislation which originally had been established to help industrialists, which was already a breach of complete free enterprise. If then, in reaction, labor leaders get together to initiate legislation to help labor, that is only acting on the same principle. This country was made not by robber barons, but by independent men, by industrialists who succeeded on sheer ability.
I think I planned this for quite some time. And I understand anyone who wouldn't do what I did if you've been sleeping and just woke up. But if you've been awake a while and you're still in the big city and you've decided to hunker down there, I pray God take you through the fire without burning. If you have the means and a way to get out, let me run this by you too. Anything over 50,000 people spread out, I wouldn't touch it. I'd have myself a garrison. Look the word up.
What we are doing here is just moving energy around. It's nothing new, really. Einstein explained this already. You cannot destroy energy, but you can use it. You see, there are neutrons and electrons flowing endlessly between the North Pole and the South Pole of these magnets. And once when it's interacting with another magnet, there is friction between them. I would say life depends on it. These magnets, man and a woman, etc. At the right rotation per minute, there's friction between them that at the right RPM generates an energy surplus. The only trick is to bring the device into optimal speed and then tap into the flow. The flow of energy. Let's say we have a rotating device on an axis with north pointing magnets. and surround these with the south-pointing magnets. By rotating on its axis, the north magnet is pushed forwards towards the south magnet. If you add a small electronic motor and an electric current driving the same motor, you will reach the optimal speed of the device. And that is when the surplus appears, which can be harvested in order to charge a battery, light a bulb, or things like that.